Thank you for those who nominated and voted for us. I have to tell you, the accomplishments of our team kind of pale in comparison to what I've heard today from these other athletes. But for all of my teammates, I want to say we are honored to be included with such elite people and athletes. Back in the 1950s and into the 1960s, Tucson High was a powerhouse on the basketball court. Go Badgers. Notice there are a lot of Badgers who've come up to this podium. And so you can imagine that in the fall of 1961, when it was time for basketball tryouts, there were a lot of young men who wanted to be on the varsity basketball team. There were some of the juniors who had played on the previous teams. We had junior varsity guys that were moving up and hoping to make the team. And then we had a couple of newcomers. We had Chester Willis, who had come from Fremont, California for his senior year. And we had Mike Butler, who had come back to Tucson High. Both of those players became valuable members of our team. And when it was all said and done, Coach Tony Morales, selected about a dozen of us. And he turned those young men, teenagers, and I know it's hard to imagine that these guys, these old men were at one time teenagers. One of them made me realize that as freshmen, in 1959, a freshman, that was 60 years ago. In any event, Coach Morales took this team and he turned them into undefeated state champions, something that very few other teams have ever achieved. And our success was not merely because of the 5 starters who got all the accolades with all city and all state selections, but it was a team effort. We were a team, we played as a team, and the coach had the luxury of a talented group of reserves who pushed the starters in practice and who came in and ably substituted when needed. Without a doubt, however, there were 2 players who were the superstars of our team. And they were so different, not just in the color of their skin, but in other respects. The first one was Jesse Peoples, who, and these are guys who became legends in that time. Jesse Peoples was a 5'9" guard who could jump, he could dunk a basketball, he was quick, he could defend, he could score. He ended up an all-city, first-team, all-state basketball player, and he was also a track star. He was nationally ranked in high schools in the high jump and became an all-state, first-team all-state in track. After high school, he went to Pima College, played basketball there, and I'm sorry, Phoenix College. I said Pima College. He went to Phoenix College, became All-American on that Phoenix College basketball team. His career was cut a little bit short. He returned to Tucson, take care of family, and tragically passed away in an auto accident before he reached the age of 30. But the legend remains. But we have here today 3 of his sisters, Mickey, Hattie, and Janet. Would you all stand back there, please? So we can go. Thank you for being here. Jesse was a dynamo. The other superstar on our team was not as fast. He couldn't jump as high. But he stood 6'9", not 5'9". He stood 6'9", and he was a rebounding and scoring machine. Off the court, well-liked, great student, student body president, first team All-State, first team All-City, captain of the All-State team. Went on to Stanford, where he starred at Stanford on the basketball team. And after college there, played professionally in Europe for a few years before injuries sidelined him. But his biggest success was courting and convincing a beautiful young Belgian girl to marry him. And Danielle is here with him today, and they're still married. It's my pleasure to turn the mic over to our center and my friend, Ray Kosenki.
Well, thank you, Mike. I don't know if that was all true. That was 57 years ago, and frankly, I don't remember everything. But we were planning to introduce guys. I was still thinking this is about a team effort. Players are one thing, but the team is what wins games. And for my part, I would simply like to say it's great to be here. It's great to be alive. And after we've heard of so many guys that no longer are, and folks that have just passed, I'd like to say, first of all, thanks to the greatest creating power in the universe, God Almighty, and His Son, Jesus Christ, who gives us life, hope, and purpose. And then to Pat and all the committee who have nominated us. Delano, thank you. My wife's already been introduced, a wife of 50 years, still helping me to rub off the rough edges, and I'm grateful. My brother Jeff and Jody are also here. Glad to see them. Thank you. One of the things I realized that when we played, three-point game didn't exist. And I realize now, had it been in effect, I'd have never seen the basketball. All these guys, every single one of them, they'd have been flinging that thing up for 40 feet, and I'd be watching and hoping for a rebound, maybe. But the game has changed, and we've gone on. Definitely 57 years ago, the championship was accomplishment, but to go on and have friends and family and to remember both Tony Morales, and I'd also like to remember the assistant coach, John Odell. Both of them, of course, have passed, but that would help. They shaped us. There's no doubt about it. So we remember that. I'm just going to go ahead and quickly introduce four guys, and then we'll do like we said. The gentleman behind me, Leroy Taylor, was a 6'5" forward. He was known for his unusual but effective jump shot. He was first team All-City, honorable mention All-State his junior year, captain on the All-City team his senior year. And he lives in Las Vegas, and he's found out something I've known for quite a few years too. While we're going on to bigger and better things at some point in time, our knees are not yet immortal. Now, I had mine replaced about 5 years ago, and we're going to share doctors here in a little bit, and he's hoping to have one of his knees replaced by the end of the year. So we appreciate being able to walk and come up here. Pete Samarano. Where's Pete? There he is. Okay. Pete was not just an excellent athlete and a tenacious defender, but he was one of those guys that has to go after the best defensive player on the other team. He could run forever and showed that off as a half-miler for the track team. And he also played for the varsity baseball team. He spent his entire life with the Tucson Fire Department until his retirement as captain nearly a decade ago. So if you're from California, as I happen to be, you appreciate a whole lot these first responders and the guys that are out there fighting fires. We've got We've got too many fires over there now. And last of the four guys I'm introducing is Mike Butler. Also a strong defender, great team player, and good shooter. Now, my notes say he scored the winning basket in the state championship. As I say, I don't remember everything, but are you guys saying that's true? Okay. The team says it's true, so thanks, Mike. I appreciate that. Yeah. So he also pitched for the baseball team and joined the Marines, served in Vietnam as a decorated helicopter pilot with terms over there, eventually retired as a colonel. Today he is in Washington, D.C. Appreciate him coming out that far. Thanks, Mike. I said last. Actually, I'm going to introduce Don Bacon. He was a good shooter for the basketball team, but he also played varsity baseball. And for the past 32 years, in addition to working, he's a coach of the Saguaro High girls softball team and teaches. 12 years ago, he was inducted into the Saguaro High Hall of Fame for both his coaching and his leadership. Back to basketball, one story. Don was known to us as Doc or Dr. D. Now again, what I've been told is that his greatest gift to the team was giving frequent, unsolicited words of wisdom. Now, I actually think that Mike said that, but I don't know. So I'm going to give Don the chance if he would come up and say a few words, and he can clarify that and also introduce some of the other team members.
I don't know about all this Dr. D business, but I want to recognize, first of all, a couple of our teammates that are no longer with us. First of all, Art Chappell. Art was a guard on the basketball team. His junior year, he didn't play very much, but his senior year, he was a starter. He went on to play at Arizona Western Junior College. Art has two daughters, one Renee, who's deceased, and the other one is Coco. She's out there someplace. Coco, would you stand up? She's back there. The other one is Chester Willis. Chester played on the freshman basketball team with all of us here, but then his family moved to Los Angeles his sophomore and junior year, where he played at Fremont High School. He returned his senior year, and Chester and Jesse Peoples were probably the best 1-2 punch in the city. Chester went on to play at Arizona Western College also, and he worked for the city of Tucson and several other jobs before he passed away. Joe Ortiz. There's too many of his family members to recognize, so I'll just say, Team Ortiz, would you stand up back there? Okay, Joe didn't play very much his junior year either, but on his senior year, he played a lot. He was a starter, great shooter, left-handed. Joe played. Joe went on to work for the city of Tucson, where he retired. Last of all, this guy back here. And I could tell you a lot of stories on what I did to him on the basketball court, but Mike was a great defensive player, good shot from 8 to 10 feet from the basket. His job, along with Leroy Taylor, was to clear the boards, get the ball out to Jesse and Chester. Mike was a great team player, and he went on to become a great lawyer here in the city of Tucson. That's Alicia and Cece. Would you please stand up, along with Chester's sister, Dolores? That's Chester's daughters.